All right, greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Greetings, salutations. All right. Good to see y'all in the chats. Thanks for hanging out with me every day on the interwebs. We're live on Rockfin. People on Rockfin in the Rockfin chat, welcome. And we're live on Callin. We're live on YouTube. What's up? I'm looking at this Twitter post that Denver sent me. I mean, sure. Kiev looks better than Los Angeles, considering Kiev is a war-torn capital of a country at war. They're I have to say they might be cherry picking a little though. Do you want me to show it? They're showing the worst parts of Los Angeles. And there are a lot of bad parts of Los Angeles. There are a lot of homeless people in Los Angeles. Absolutely, that is true. But there are some nice parts of LA. Nice shopping districts with, wealthy people, wealthy, beautiful people walking around. And, I mean, the downtown of where I live is just, people walking around, enjoying their day in a nice little shopping district, and everything looks nice and clean. I mean, you can kind of cherry pick those things. I'm sure there are parts of Kiev that look really busted. I'm sure there's parts of Kiev where people are living on the streets and people are scraping for food and water. I don't know. That's true. Kiev also looks like it's being given hundreds of billions of dollars. That is true. They've got a surplus, don't they? All right. Let's get into it. Again, so many things, so little time. There was a typhoon, Talim, that slammed into China. Bringing a lot of damage. Lashed southeastern China, displaced 230,000 as large swaths of Asia reel from torrential rain and extreme heat. It's hot, it's rainy. They're getting, two different weather extremes at the same time. It disrupted flights and shut fishing villages and coastal tourist spots. In Japan, some 60 people fell ill with heat stroke. Parts of China are seeing record high temperatures. I see a lot of, I'm hearing a lot of alternative journalists and broadcasters just going overtime trying to tell you, oh, they're just this is crazy. This has happened before. Okay. Alrighty. In South Korea, the death toll from days of torrential rain and landslides rose to 41. Trees fell on moving vehicles. A whale washed ashore. Oh, I forgot about that. There were actually it was a large beaching recently. Was it in Scotland? Anyways, it is very warm. It is very humid in China. Let's see. Let's put it all together very simply. On a warmer planet, there's more water vapor in the air. That's just science. Nobody's making that up. I don't see anybody talking about that, all these storms and rains and all the energy in the system would probably happen if we were on a warmer planet. Like, nobody brings that one up. Just kind of simple science. Strong wind photograph in the eye wall of the typhoon. And there's lots and lots of videos of trees going down and people getting whipped around. There was also, I believe, a tornado. That was an interesting video. Tornado whipping up. This is hilarious. Has anybody seen this? A lot of people kind of saw this. But we'll check this out. Oh, we're going to fact check it, but we're going to talk about it. But this is silly. On some levels, this is silly. Jimmy Dore. Fantoma sent me this. He's talking about climate change, but at the end he's like, well, I need to fact check this because I'm not quite sure. And it's a little bit of a silly moment because he's like, well, I'm not totally sure about that. So I'm going to help you out, Jimmy Dore.
If they really think, the problem is the people making these laws, they don't stop flying on their private jets. So I don't think they really believe this. And by the way, a lot of the models for climate change, none of them are coming true. There's more coral reef now. Remember they said the Great Coral Reef? There's more coral reef now than ever. There's more coral reef now than ever. Yes, the Great Barrier Reef. You thought that was supposed to all be dead by now. Yeah, there's more of it now than ever. Oh. So, but that's another story. Let me check my facts on it and get back to you. But I'm telling you, you're being lied to about climate change, and it's in order to control you. And my perspective is we should be looking for ways to mitigate the damage. Okay, if they really think...
Wait. Mitigate the damage. I don't know. I think that I really believe that some people should not wade into this conversation. And I actually think the people, the alternative journalists who think climate change is a hoax, you should probably not talk about it if you don't know what the F you're talking about, because you sound stupid. You sound like an idiot. Like when Charlie Robinson is like, they want us all to go to net zero. That means zero carbon. That means everything dies. Dude, you sound like a dummy. You sound like a dumb ass. Like you don't even know what the hell net zero even means. And no, it doesn't mean zero carbon on the planet. And it doesn't mean everything dies because that's what we're going to do. I mean, it is like the dumbest moronic take ever. And it's like, dude, you don't even know what you're talking about, but you're trying to tell people about something that you have zero clue about. Like, dude, stick to something else. Stick to real estate. Stick to, whatever else it is you're doing. And talking about that, there are some subjects I happen to agree with him on, but when he gets to climate change, it's just like he kicks himself right in his nuts. And it's like, dude, you look like a dumbass. Just don't do that. Sorry to be so graphic, but this is stupid because Jimmy Dore is like, yeah, ever. I don't, first of all, he says they're lying to you about climate change in order to control you. And then he puts out something that's like, kind of halfway, has some, it's like half-baked, factoid. Again, that's just, if you want to call it, if it's even close to the truth, it's cherry-picked. It's a cherry-picked thing that he probably got from somewhere, I don't know. He got from some other, climate change is a hoax or newscaster, right? He just saw this somewhere else and he repeated it. And then lastly, he says they're lying to you about climate change. And then lastly, he says, but we should be doing things to mitigate the damage. What damage? You mean the damage from climate change? What are you talking about? Like, and then he says, I mean, before he even says that, he says, well, let me just check my facts on there's more coral reef than ever. Oh my God. So where to begin? So I went to go, help him out and see what's happening. So there was a huge, gigantic, like 90%, 92% bleaching event in the last, well, there were two large bleaching events in 98 and 2005. And then there was another bleaching event in 2016. There were several bleaching events in the last decade. And then what happened in the last couple of years is the coral reef rebounded quite a bit. It did rebound quite a bit, but not ever. There's like the most coral reef in the last 36 years because we've had these huge bleaching events that knocked a bunch of coral reefs, bleached them, knocked them out from what? From like marine heat waves. And the coral rebounded back, and they're like, hey, this is great. The coral rebounded back. Wonderful. That doesn't mean like they're lying to you about climate change. That just means the coral reefs rebounded from a really catastrophic event. So the fact that he didn't really know what he was talking about is a little bit embarrassing. And that's an interestingly, yes, that it happened actually after. It happened during a La Nina, so right, you'd think that the ocean temperatures are a little bit cooler. We were still experiencing, warmer global average temperatures in those years, right? We were still reaching like new temperature highs, but the oceans got a chance to cool off. We did have a global pandemic when we were not pumping quite so many emissions into the air. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Yeah, so there's just to quickly look at this. Poppy, I had this already up. Is the Great Barrier Reef making a comeback? The world's largest reef saw record growth after years of bleaching, so why aren't scientists celebrating? Anyways, the Australian Institute of Marine Science reported the highest levels of coral cover across two-thirds of the Great Barrier Reef, so not the whole Barrier Reef, in over 36 years. After two major events. So this is again, you're walking into a subject that's highly nuanced, has a lot of moving parts, and he doesn't really understand, he's just saying, well, they've been lying to us. See, there's more coral than ever. That just proves climate change. Like, dude, no, it doesn't. It does not. That's called cherry picking. That's called it's called like using slanting a piece of information in a way to make it look like, see, there's nothing going on. No, I don't think he's insane, Poppy. I don't think he's insane. I get what he was trying to say. He doesn't look good in this clip. They're going to, I think he's going the route of like they're lying to us about climate change. And it's all a hoax. I think he should not do that just based on the popularity of that opinion. Because that's all it is. It's just a popular opinion at the moment. It's a very fashionable thing to think among the people that are like, hey, we think we know what's going on in the world and we have a better insight on what's going on in the world. And generally that's true. We have better insight on what's going on in the world than, your regular old news, mainstream news broadcasters. That is our claim to fame. That's our selling point. That's why people come to us, because they believe that we're telling the truth about all these different things. But they don't know jack crap about climate change, and they just stick their foot in their mouths, and it's just a popular idea that's not it's not backed or based in facts and data. It's just not, and it's unfortunate because people are being misinformed, people are being confused, people are being told one thing is happening when they're looking outside their window and going, but it is actually getting warmer. I do see that weird things are happening. I don't know. Anyways, to go back to this article, yeah, it has regrown. The coral reef has rebounded, but after a rough couple of decades. And the thing that brought on those bleaching events was, marine heat waves that many attribute to, the planet is getting warmer. And we are entering a time called El Nino when there's going to be some major, look at how warm the water is off the Florida Keys, off the Florida coast. All over the place on the eastern, in the eastern Pacific, in the western Atlantic, around Europe. There are major marine heat waves going on. We're entering El Nino, and so we will probably get. It is highly likely that we will get massive bleaching events in the next few years, depending on how long this El Nino lasts. So, did you include all that when you were talking about this, Jimmy Dore? No, you didn't. You didn't include all that. You're missing a lot of information. I suggest you talk to somebody who has more information about this than you do. And that doesn't mean another person who doesn't believe in climate change. They don't have more information than you do about this. They have about the same, which is very, very little. Or only what is convenient to them. And again, the people that go really hard on this, I have suspicions about you. Just know that. Just know that I suspect you. I suspect something a little more nefarious reasons, because it doesn't make sense, right? People who can see the truth in a lot of things suddenly not being able to see the truth about this particular subject. It makes me wonder. Anyways. Yeah, please, lefty journalists, please do not get stuck on stupid on this on this subject, please. Anyways, they're saying there's changes to the Great Barrier Reef, right? Because of these bleaching events. So what's happening is you're getting like monoculture. Instead of a diverse old-growth forest, the reef may now be like a monoculture of planted pulp trees, says Hewen. With less diversity of corals on the Great Barrier, he adds, there will also be fewer structures that house and feed various species of fish and marine invertebrates because of these major heating events, because it affected the Great Barrier Reef so intensely. Some, like the parrotfish, a valuable grazer that keeps algae from smothering corals, have already suffered decline in the northern third of the reef following mass bleaching events that began in 2016. So how do we know whether to celebrate the recovery of the Great Barrier Reef? This opens a long-held debate about the distinction between words like recovery, recovered, and healthy. Health depends on your perspective, says Hewen. There's a lot of variability on any given reef. So these things aren't just perfect until they're messed with. They're in flux, and not all scientists assess reef health in the same way. Anyways. There's still some encouraging news here. Despite multiple stressors like marine heat waves, CO2s, pollutants from agricultural runoff, and overfishing, the regrowth period demonstrates that the Great Barrier Reef is able to bounce back even with less pressure, with one less pressure. Until the next marine heat wave, right? So I would call the point that he made highly cherry picked and slanted, and not not nuanced in a way that would give people enough information to assess like whether climate change is fake. All right, let's move on. From Peter Dines, record heat in China. Record heat in Europe, record heat in the U.S. Civilization is well and truly in the pot, and the sooner it takes it serious, the better chance of salvaging something from the burning embers. And this is a pretty good cartoon. If the heat is turned up slowly, a frog won't notice it's boiling. And she says, we're still here. The frogs all left. And there go the insurance companies. It's actually a pretty good point. There are a lot of animals, a lot of species out there who have vacated the premises. But we're able to manage to hold... We're able to hold on and think that everything is fine and normal because we still control. We have so much control, over our situation. So far. Eventually, we will not have that control, and that will really suck. To add to that, I just want to back up that point. This is the definition of compound concurrent heat extremes. What you're looking at is the pressure pattern and wind flow at the 500 millibar level. This is why Death Valley hit 129. The Mediterranean may hit 118. Iran heat index of 152. And China hit an all-time heat record of 126. So we just have heat dome after heat dome after heat dome. That's amazing looking, if not completely frightening. Another point that Jimmy made actually goes to the thing that I was speaking of, I don't know, in the last few days, which is that because they're still doing all the regular things, climate change must be fake. They must know something we don't. Yeah. Or they may not care. After the hottest day and week, we are now experiencing the hottest month ever in about 120,000 years based on paleoclimatology. As we keep warming the planet, we will soon experience global temperatures not seen in the past million years. We are here. It looked like it was going back down into, somewhat normal land, but then here's another spike up. We're spiking up. What? No. That tweet was deleted? Get out of here. I don't even know what that was. From Fenrir, if temperatures can't ever fall again, then this planet is in runaway global heating. Fact. And he's retweeting Chris Van Steenbergen. There's no longer any reason to assume the average surface temperature worldwide will drop below 1.5 C again. Jesus. Compared to the period 1850 to 1900. The heat is now baked into the system in 3 ways. Oceans, atmosphere, and cryosphere. That's pretty frightening. He's saying there's no reason to assume the average surface temperature will drop below 1.5 C above baseline. Somebody replies, well, during the period when the Earth warmed 1.5 C, we've had the greatest advance in the human condition in all history. Life expectancy went from about 30 years to almost 80. We brought 6 billion people out of abject poverty. So there's that. Okay. I don't know. Just, that's funny. Is that because it's warmer? Or, is it warm because we're all here? It's good to understand which is which. Where is the, dang, if I didn't have that one somewhere. Or I thought I did. There was a heat index of like almost 160 in the Persian Gulf. Oh, here it is. That was from yesterday. So basically this was come on. Let me see it. 104 Fahrenheit with a dew point of 90 degrees. Let's see. 104 Fahrenheit with a dew point of 90 degrees. Heat index of 152. Jesus. 66.7 C. And the water temperatures were 90 Fahrenheit. That's insane. There was so much I missed from yesterday. Trying to cover all the things I have today. Did you all see that Saudi Arabia was caught taking water in Arizona? Fantoma sent me this. How a Saudi firm tapped a gusher of water in drought-stricken Arizona. Didn't we? I think we covered something about this before. Didn't we? Oh, they're gonna. Yeah. All right. Anyways, I guess I'm not covering this. At least not from there. I think we covered this story. That other countries are also using our groundwater to grow. Like China is buying farmland in certain areas, and they're sucking up the groundwater. Yes, it's going to get very hot here for sure. Into the weekend, it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. It's already very warm. Oh, this is what it is. Yes, I was correct. Scotland just had a mass beaching of pilot whales. The largest fatal mass stranding of pilot whales we've had in Scotland for decades, over 50. Jesus. And haven't they been having a bit of a heat wave around the British Isles? Could that have something to do with it? Could it be that the fish all vacated and they had no food? Or could it be due to other stressors, or, a combination of stressors? Anyways, it's very sad. All right. And it looks like Southern Europe's heat wave will continue for 7 more days. This was from yesterday. Southern Europe's extreme heat wave will continue for the next 7+ days as a record strong heat dome parks overhead, bringing extreme heat for days on end. In Sicily and Sardinia, temperatures could reach 48 C, threatening the record for the highest temperature in recorded history in Europe. The heat will be extreme across any or many major city centers, including Rome, currently forecast to hit 43 C on Tuesday, which would crush its previous all-time high by 2 C. A prolonged intensity of this heat wave and brutally hot tropical nights for millions across southern Europe will build accumulating heat stress over the coming days that will not allow many to recover from the hot daytime temperatures, threatening public health and increasing the risk of heat illnesses. All right. Okay. I'm going to move on to some other subjects. I'm probably going to jump off of YouTube here and go to Rockfin for the rest of the show. But very quickly, these are the best possible ways, bestest and most directest possible ways to support the show. PayPal.me/Kevin Sandblum. Venmo at Kevin Sandblum. Cash App at Red Llama Music. BuyMeACoffee.com/Black Bear News. And also Patreon is there as well. You all can find all these links in the description box. All right, we're going to go over to Rockfin and talk about a couple of different things. Tried to get in a few other news items. And thank you all for hanging out with me, YouTubers, and hope to see you over on Rockfin. Peace.